Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. I've been looking forward to spending some time with my friend Leonard Courtright, and he has got a great company and one that's been around now for a long time here in the Houston market, and it's Allied Siding and
Windows.
Windows, exactly right. And tell me a little bit about the company. Give us the elevator speech.
You bet, Kevin. Well, good to be with you today.
Glad to have you.
Allied Siding and Windows is a company really, and I make no bones that we're a faith-based company, by the way. We pray at sales meetings, which some people cross their eyes when they hear that. But we're a faith-based company. We're out to help people with the outside of their home. So my goal and philosophy is you have what we call the envelope of the house. That's what keeps the outside where it belongs, and perhaps in the summertime, the expensive cool air inside where it belongs. So we really work on the outside of the house, and I do two things. A lot of people think we're a siding and window company. We're really a service company. So our emphasis is on service. We have great brand name products. We don't make our own window or make our own siding. We buy the best brand name products on the market that have good long-term warranties, and then we give customers really good service. Each and every month, our largest group of new customers comes from repeats and referrals. And if you know anything about business, you know that's a good sign. That means that we're doing the right things for our customers. They get service so good that they remember it and they tell their friends and family about it. So we really do work on getting brand name products with good long-term warranties and then service so good that people just simply will not forget it. And in the end, we have a program called Allied Cares, and we give back to the community. All of our employees get paid time off for community events. And then each month we pick an organization. We have a list of about 20 that we've supported through the years. And based on our, profitability for the month, we'll make a gift to that organization. And we're just not bashful about that. We want to give back to the community that has been so good to us for these 26 years.
Let me ask you, the reason why I get you on the show is to talk about best practices in choosing a vendor. Because especially in an economy like this, and people are always boasting about how strong our economy is, but the reality is we have fewer people working now, a percentage of population than in any time since 1970s under Jimmy Carter. The reality is that a lot of those people have created stealth economies, and they're driving around in pickup trucks with magnetic signs, and they're just kind of staying under the radar screen and doing shabby work, easy to get work, cheap work that never gets finished. Yeah. And so what I wanted to do with you in this program is talk about some of the best practices out there, and look at some of the questions that people should be asking before they ever hire a vendor. And so I want to spend some time on that. But before we do that, let's talk about Don't Move, Improve. I only got a copy of it today, but delighted to get my hands on it, and I think it looks like it's so timely. Tell me about it.
Well, you're hit the nail right on the head. In fact, that's why I wrote the book about a year and a half ago. With the downturn in the economy, all these new construction guys became remodelers. And you're exactly right, Kevin. There's very few barriers to entry in our business. So if you have a truck and a ladder and maybe a helper, you're a remodeler.
Yeah.
And it really does confuse consumers. So what I did is I took the common questions and phone calls and inquiries that I get from customers and prospective customers, and I put it in that book. So Don't Move, Improve is a really good, handy book. They say people do home improvements every 7 years. They don't do it often enough that they get really proficient at it. So if you're thinking of doing something with the house, it's a book you can pick up, get some good, timely tips. And there's two things to answer your question specifically. The first is it a project you want to tackle yourself or have somebody do it for you? And I go a lot into, the do-it-yourself kind of concept. There's some hidden problems with that. One of them, and perhaps the biggest, the hidden cost I call, is that of the warranty. If you do work yourself, you're your own warranty. If you have somebody else do the work for you, you can negotiate sometimes 10, 20, 30 lifetime warranties. So if something doesn't work right down the road, it's taken care of. When you do it yourself, you have no warranty. But then the second thing is if you determine you want to have a company do this work for you, I have a whole chapter in there about how to pick a contractor. And let me give you a couple of quick pointers as you have already kind of alluded to. Number one, never trust a guy with an out-of-state license plate on his vehicle.
Never.
These are going to be typically storm chasers, but these are guys that, they were working in whatever other state and work ran dry. So they're coming here. Well, what that tells you is when the work runs dry here for them, they'll move on. And if you have a question or a problem.
As well as their warranty.
Precisely. If you have a question or problem, you have nowhere to call. And that's the kind of warranty, as we joke, we say that warranty ends when the taillights leave the street. Yeah. So you really don't want to do that. So simple things like that. And then the other thing is spec the products. Don't have them tell you what they want to install. Tell them, I would like, for instance, if you're doing a siding job, James Hardy Plank is really the leader in the siding industry right now. Best warranty, best product. Have everybody bid the same product. Therefore, you have a real apples-to-apples comparison. Then the next thing is get references. Always get references. And here's what I tell people. If you ask for references and they give you a pre-printed sheet, guess what that is? That's their mother, their cousin, their relative, their neighbor, their coworker. They're the ones they know are going to give you good references. Ask for references that aren't on the pre-printed list. And the best way to do it is say, hey, can you give me a few homes that you did in my neighborhood or in my zip code? Really kind of put them on the spot. And now those people may not be comfortable with you calling them and actually doing a reference check over the phone, but at least you can drive by and see the quality of work that they did for them. So if you do that, make sure it's a project that you don't want to tackle yourself. Hire a contractor that's a reputable company in state and local. And then make sure that you do your homework in terms of speccing the products so you can do really an apples-to-apples comparison. But I have part of that chapter in the book that talks about how to negotiate, too. Once you find a good company, here's the example I use. I believe companies have personalities, much like you and I do, and we get along because we enjoy each other's personality.
Exactly.
Well, companies have personalities, and it's not just the salesperson or the installer, it's the company in general. Find a company that has a personality you get along with, and then I tell you in the book how to negotiate with them, how to drive out the excess cost. Most contractors put in what we call contingency costs, what-if costs.
Right.
So I tell customers, get rid of those what-if costs and have an agreement. We have a good personality, a good relationship. If you run into something, I'll pay extra for it at the time, but don't add it in just in case. Hope you don't run into that problem, and then I end up overpaying for the project at the end of the day. So it really does help people negotiate with power. The last thing I'll mention is the Internet is a wonderful thing. A lot of my competitors are afraid of the Internet because they can go out there and see the good, the bad, and the ugly about the company and customer experiences and so on. Now, we're not perfect. Things don't always go right. We help about 150 homeowners a month.
And if you do that much work, you're going to always find someone who's not happy.
Absolutely. And listen, the fact is I make mistakes. I know you don't make mistakes, but
yeah. Apparently, I haven't talked to my wife much, but yeah,
we all make mistakes. The fact is, at Ally, when something goes wrong, we make it right. So you'll find people that say, "Oh man, this happened or that happened," but what they're also going to say is, "But Ally took care of it in the end," and that's really what we pride ourselves on. So do research on the internet.
BBB membership?
BBB membership to me is the number one place to go to get an impartial rating. There's these other third-party agencies. I won't mention any names, but you see them advertised on TV and hear them on the radio, and those are really all what we call pay-to-play. You pay for a service. There's one individual that says you can't pay to be on my website. Well, the fact is you can pay to advertise on these third-party agencies. The BBB really is, in my opinion, and most business owners, the only impartial organization. You pay a very nominal, annual membership fee, but you can't pay for anything else.
Right.
If you have a bad rating, you have a bad rating. But we at Allied Siding Windows, we do not have one unresolved complaint with the BBB. Again, not that we're perfect. We make mistakes like everybody, but when something goes wrong, we make it right.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And they're not always going to side with the consumer either. And that's the third-party objectivity. Let's face it, sometimes consumers have unrealistic expectations because they're human just like you, the vendor, are.
Yeah, we had a customer recently, and we resolved it, but she had picked the color that she wanted her house to be painted. And when it was all done, she decided that she didn't like the color. And she just upset and all that. Well, we used the color that she wanted. Now, we went ahead and repainted the house for her at no charge. That's the kind of things that we do in Allied. But sometimes people do have unrealistic expectations. And the BBB can be a good arbiter of saying, hey, what really happened here? Did the company really try to do something nefarious? Or is it maybe some communication issue? But in the end, if something goes wrong, we make it right. And by the way, I think that's the right thing to do for people. I tell people I treat your home as if it were my home, and I'll treat you as if you were my relative. And that's what I believe is, by the way, as a Christian, we have a responsibility to do. I always tell people, I think we have earthly clients, but we have a heavenly employer. Yeah. And he's looking down, and he's going to bless my business if I do the right thing. And that's who I want to please at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk about the concept real quickly of raving fan. I'm sure you're familiar with Clint Blatcher's book.
Absolutely.
And that seems to be cornerstone of what you're trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. Again, people think we sell siding and windows, and we do install siding and windows, but what I sell is service. And service is so good that people remember and will come back. As I mentioned earlier, each and every month our largest group of customers comes from repeats and referrals. Let me mention that referral thing. It's one thing to say, I have all these windows in my house. I'm going to do half this year and half next year. It's another thing to be so happy that you'll tell your relatives or your coworker about it and really kind of put your stamp of approval. So I'm just really pleased, and that's a good indicator to me as a business owner that we're doing the right thing for people day in and day out. If they'll come back, but they'll also send their friends and relatives and associates and neighbors to us as well.
How can people get a copy of your book?
Don'tMoveImproveBook.com. Don'tMoveImproveBook.com. You can go there and request a copy, purchase a copy. In fact, I'd be happy to give some copies to your listeners. So we'll give away 10 free copies for whoever would like to go to the website and request one. And then, of course, AlliedSidingAndWindows.com is the best way to contact me if you'd like to have any questions answered or if we can be of service to you in any way.
Leonard Courtright, he's been our guest. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Kevin. Good to see you.
You helped so much, and look forward to learning more in the future about the good work you do for others.
Sounds good. Thanks. God bless.
You too. All right, when we come back, much more for you. I do want to remind you, best content here, it shows up over there at usdatareview.com. While there, like it on Facebook, follow it on Twitter. When we come back, more for you right here on The Price of Business.